All right, so we've talked about how home buyer sentiment is at the lowest point it's been in quite some time. And today I found out that home builder sentiment has crashed as well, at the lowest it's been since June 2020. So things aren't looking good, but I think we have a way to make things better as time goes on. So welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of As the Housing Market Turns. Today is August the 17th. We're past the halfway point of the month. Randy Patrick here, putting the realism back in real estate. Hope you are all doing well. Listen, this is a good video. As I say, if I say so myself, but stay to the end because I want to show you guys some really awesome equity opportunities here in Florida. So hang with me, or watch it and skip to the end if you want. I don't care. But the whole point is that check it out. It's important. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is very important. And guess what? GetHousingData.com. GetHousingData.com is going to help you do the stuff that you should be doing to find distressed properties that you can purchase for below market value. So this is my partnership with Foreclosure.com, the #1 listing supplier of distressed properties in the country. So check that out, GetHousingData.com, and you'll be happy you did so. All right, U.S. home builder, confidence crashes to the lowest point in 13 months. Says it appears that home builders are finally starting to awaken to the reality of their customers' collapse in confidence. The field of dreams narrative has just imploded. So we're taking a look at, home builder confidence is the green line. It's jumped down. Home buyer confidence is still down, so it's no change what we've seen the past few months here. And I guess if you start talking about the home builder confidence, I guess some of the reasons that they're having a drop is the fact that traffic of prospective buyers is down significantly over the past couple months. And I would imagine if you're a home builder, well, what happens? You have developments, you have model homes, people coming to check out your product. So less foot traffic obviously means less sales that are converting. So that's probably how they feel that right now. So it's interesting to see that, we know that home building has, why is it an issue? Well, they can't build fast enough. All the price points with materials, labor, entitlement, land, the whole bit is up. So it's not an economical venture for a lot of home buyers at this point in time. So they're feeling the pinch right now. And it's interesting how, like this swings up and down like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, so what's the cure for this negative, awful home buyer sentiment that's so low these days? What's the cure for it? Well, it's not these guys, okay? Definitely not these guys. But the cure is what? Forbearances and foreclosures. Now, I bet you didn't know I was going to say that, right? Well, that's the scoop. And why am I saying that? Because it's different now, okay? The shift has started. So we were waiting for July 31st. It actually happened, all right? We have, as I said before, 3 buckets. We have the CDC eviction moratorium thing, which separate over on the left. Don't worry about that right now. Obviously, if you're a landlord, you do. But, I'm talking about foreclosures starting up and moving forward now. And we're talking about forbearances that are expiring. That's the 3 things that are going on. We're pretty much going to talk about the forbearances and the foreclosures to see how this all plays out. Now, what I want to make sure everybody realizes is that, hey, mainstream media is going to tell us that everything is good because that's what they like to do. So you're going to see a lot of information coming out in articles that are written by the journalists who are pro-housing writers, and they're going to talk about the fact that share of loans in forbearance drops by 14 basis points. Well, that's a statement, but when you look at that, what you would normally respond, or how you would respond, would be, hey, that means that's good. That means there's less people in forbearance, which means there's something happening that's in the industry that's good or helping those homeowners, right? Well, what they don't tell you is the fact that maybe that loan and forbearance dropped by 14 basis points is because the people are now exiting forbearance plans. So, obviously when you exit, you drop off as a cha-ching, or, as a pay count. So it's going to look good. It's just how it's explained to us and how we choose to interpret it. So you know how I interpret it. All right. Interesting little article here from Dr. Housing Bubble. More housing inventory is coming. 850,000 borrowers will exit forbearance between August and October. Yes, you heard that right. 850,000. Okay. That's huge. That's a huge amount of people. So how will that all be serviced? I don't know. Well, here is Zillow put this little graph out here. Zillow estimates expected 18-month forbearance exits based on data from Black Knight Financial's June 2021 Mortgage Monitor report. So take a look at the left column. We've got the month. So August, the projected expirations of people leaving forbearance programs, 108,000. September, 451,900. October, 286,000. November, 184,000. December, 95,000. That's a ton of people who will be exiting the forbearance plans in a very, very short period of time. And there'll be more coming off in 2022, as you can see. But the bulk is happening in this month, September and October. That's where the bulk is happening. We'll see how the servicing companies, banks, lenders, etc., are going to be strained to handle this. So this obviously is in a more graphic format here. Estimated final expiration month of active forbearance plans based on FHFA, FHA, VA, USDA forbearance term matrices. So basically what they're pulling this report from Black Knight's, what they call the Mortgage Monitor, or their McDash Flash data set. Sounds like McDonald's. Every time I talk about them, I'm like, am I ordering from McDonald's here? I'll take a McDash, please. Anyway, the whole bit is that this is the only group, Black Knight, that's actually producing these statistics. That's all we have to go on with. If you start digging into some of this information, it's based on samples and extrapolation. So as I always say, the numbers we're seeing here are numbers that we can at least focus on, so it gives us some tangible information to discuss. But I can guarantee you that these numbers are underreported, so the real numbers are always going to be less than what's estimated right now in the marketplace here, because we know that's what's been happening over the past little while. So this is the sort of their highlight of their mortgage monitor. I want to talk about a couple of the notes here. So obviously, 7.3 million people have been in forbearance programs. Right now, 1.86 million are currently active in forbearance. Okay, FHA, FHFA, FHA, VA, USDA have provided details to us now that shows how long their plans are. As a result, forbearance plans that started almost 7 months ago, a part would now require, would now expire simultaneously, assuming borrowers stay in the maximum allowable term. So I look at it going, if you're still in forbearance and you're in another term, you're staying in it for the maximum term, as far as I'm concerned. So the problem is that now they're going to start, some of these expirations for different loan segments are going to start to stack and happen at once. All right. This would concentrate expiration activity later this year, particularly among FHA borrowers who may face heightened challenges in returning to making mortgage payments post-forbearance. Well, what do we know about FHA loans? We know that FHA loans are the most delinquent, because I show you every so often the top 10 most threatened FHA delinquency locations across the country, those metro, those MSAs. So we know that, about 14 to 15% are delinquent of the loan counts, about 10+% are seriously delinquent. So there's some significant issues with FHA. What about FHA borrowing? Well, guess what? It's lower credit score, some lower standards, higher debt to income ratio, and lower down payments. So that typically is a more exposed or more vulnerable potential person or homeowner or borrower that's going to be set up for forbearance here, right? So they're more apt to be in forbearance. All right. The current expiration matrices, 65% of all plans, including 80% of FHA and VA loans down forbearance, would expire through the remainder of 2021, which is 1.2 million in total. It's a lot of people calling a call center, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is important, so listen to this last statement here, okay? With the bulk of expirations now coming earlier than anticipated, so we didn't realize this was going to happen. I think we had a long time, but hey, people aren't figuring this out. Okay, servicers face mounting operational challenges related to such a large volume. So let's break it up there. Mounting operational challenges, which means, can you pick up the phone? Okay, and the reason why I want to be clear here is that, when you jumped into forbearance, I know a lot of people were able to just call and say, I want forbearance, no questions asked, click. Some people actually were able to go on the website and click, I want forbearance, with their lender. Some people were able to send some mail in, or actually go through a voicemail system. Put in you're in your lender, need forbearance, put in your loan number, put in your social security number. Okay, do you want forbearance? Yes, click, or press 1, whatever it is. So getting forbearance was a lot easier than what it was before, which is great. That's what we needed back in the time. But okay, realize that the difference that now is volume of complex post-forbearance loss mitigation efforts. Now, on the flip side, right, is now when you're out of forbearance, your plan has expired, and you need to do the loss mitigation go through that process, that's a whole other ballgame. Okay, you're calling, you're talking to a service rep. You're going to have to fill out forms, fill out financial statements, send in financial statements. Who know? Like, it's their whole loss mitigation package. It's got to get to them. Someone has to analyze and get back to you. They got to negotiate, figure stuff out. So going from a forbearance into a loan modification, into the Biden plan where they were going to reduce your principal interest by 25%, or other government things that will be available, other programs the lender may have available for you. It's not like it's point and click. It's a whole other ball game. So that makes it more difficult, more time consuming. This is where people go, they get frustrated and they fall off. So this is where we're going to have issues. Now, the CFPB has been very bullish and very obvious and talking about all the time, talking to lenders and servicers going, you guys have to be ready for this, but I just can't see it. Like, 1.2 million people, or, in 3 months, we're having almost 850,000 people coming out. Like, just think about the calls coming to a call center. I just don't know how that's going to work. I fear the worst. Hopefully we'll be pleasantly surprised, but this is where things are going to drop off. And a lot of these people, okay, who the journalists who talk, pro-housing journalists saying, hey, sell your property, all your equity, whatever, that's not going to work for them, okay? And guess what? They're going to be stuck trying to get through this loan modification, loss mitigation situation, and it may not work, or they may not be able to get through, or things will fall through the cracks, and they'll become casualties of the situation, like what happened in the last housing crisis. So we have a lot of experience in dealing with that, all right? So here's a change in seriously delinquent rates since the onset of the pandemic. Clearly, certain states like Nevada, okay, Las Vegas, 3.4%, Texas, 2.5%, Oklahoma, 2.4%, Florida, 2.4%, Mississippi, 2.5%, Georgia, you've got Maryland, New Jersey, Connecticut, you got New York State, Minnesota, Illinois. Looks like you've got probably my geography here. What's wrong with my geography? Hey, I'm not from here, but I know everything. It looks like Wyoming up there probably. You're gonna have Nebraska. All right, so there you go. So these are the ones that are above 2, and the rest are above 1.5 or 1%. So there's stuff happening everywhere, but obviously we're going to have certain concentration in different states across the country here. Now, markets with the biggest change in seriously delinquents are what? Vegas. Look at Vegas before the pandemic, February 2020, and where it is now. Big, big change, and it's got a count there as well too. Vegas, Miami, New Orleans, Houston, San Antonio, Orlando, Atlanta, New York, Newark, New Jersey, that big metro area, Baltimore and Washington. I'm surprised Baltimore and Washington, I guess they're not close enough to be quite the metro, but they're so close anyway. So what does it show here? Well, couple in Texas, couple in Florida, couple in Maryland and DC. So some concentration there. And, this doesn't surprise me, because every one of these locations, except maybe San Antonio, were pretty much had major issues in the last housing crisis. So nothing surprises me here. We look at the lowest change, Milwaukee, okay, cool. Detroit, that's the one that actually surprised me, because Detroit I thought would be worse off than where they are. Richmond, Virginia, Seattle, San Fran, Denver, Boston, Salt Lake, Pittsburgh, San Jose, all those locations tend to be a little more higher income, higher home prices. So we're not seeing as much maybe seriously delinquent there for other reasons. So, but you can see the top 10 are virtually no surprise with where we're at, okay? Now, just as another way of looking at things, this is the bar graph of the scheduled expirations. So clearly some happen in June, more in July. Bang, look at August, bang, look at September, and look at October. So the bulk of it's coming in right now, the next 3 months, and that's what's going to happen. That'll be difficult for the servicers. Another way of looking at the graph, this is broken down by loan segment, so FHA, VA, GSE, which is Fannie and Freddie, and the other, which typically is private label servicing companies or portfolio loans, whatever. So again, the volume is there, and this is what we focused on, or this is what the mainstream media is focused on. Of these numbers, is supplied by Blacklight Financial, seems to be that when they talk about distress or delinquency, they just focus on this forbearance number. They don't really talk about other bunches of properties that are out there that aren't even being considered in this. Now, this graph is interesting. So a lot of it is, a lot of the forbearance hoopla is that, that the patting on the back and the applause that forbearance has worked for so many people. And if it has, that's great. That's wonderful. And it should, because it's a tool that you can use with your lender or servicer. So if you can use it and it works for you, that's great. But let's take a look at the blue. All right. So 7.3 million people have been in a forbearance program since inception. All right. Obviously a lot of the green has been removed, expired, performing. Good for you. Okay. The blue is active forbearance, term extended. To me, what that is you've already been in it for one term and you've gone to second or third or second or more terms, which means for whatever reason you don't have substantial income or solid income that's regular that you can use to pay your mortgage. So you're still in forbearance. Active forbearance original term is typically you look like you're going to be 0 to 6 months in, and you could possibly extend as well too. Obviously, paid off is you paid off your loan, so you either sold your house or you refinanced, and that the delinquent mortgage is paid off. Remove the expired delinquent. Those people are basically falling into the foreclosure bucket because they're out of their program, the forbearance program. They're not looking for help, so they're kind of floating out there. And then you have removed expired delinquent, active loss mit. So they're in active loss mitigation. So either they're going through loss mitigation programs right now, or doing loan mods or things like that. So that's where that is. So in the end, this looks good with the big green, but the real situation is the blues and the yellows and the orange, all right? Because that's the remainder who can't pay off or sell, you see? So that's the situation. That's where the problems are, clearly. So, but it's just a good way of showing it. Now, another graph just for grins here. Delinquencies 4.37%, foreclosures low, foreclosure starts low, seriously delinquent 3.2%, and obviously as time goes on, more people that come out of forbearance, obviously the numbers look better. Total delinquencies are going down. So there's good news there, but realize that things just aren't happening because why are foreclosure starts down? Because of the moratoriums and because the courts weren't processing things or not open, etc. So all this is kind of changing as time goes on now as things open up here. This is active loan count, and just again going back to some statistical commentary here. So go to the bottom of the chart, bottom left, June 30th, 2021. Okay, total active count. So what Black Knight's telling us, the total active loan count across the board is 53 million loans. Out of those 53 million loans, 582,000 are 30 days down. Okay, out of the 53 million, 187,000 are 60 days down, and 1.55 million are 90 days or greater in delinquent. And then FC stands for that other column. It means they're in foreclosure. So they've passed the 90 days, and now they're in what we call foreclosure, true foreclosure process. 145,000 for a 2.465 million non-current across the U.S. Well, this is the number issues that I have problems with. So if we're focusing on forbearance is 1.8 million. I always talk about 1.86 million is what we got right now. So take 1.86 million, subtract that for 2.46, and we got about 600,000 difference there, right? Somewhere in that realm. Or maybe I'm not doing math properly here. 465.86. We're about that. About 600,000. All right. Well, what these guys don't talk about, and what's been discussed openly in other parts, other news media sections, is the fact that we have about another 1.8 million, we'll call it non-current delinquent loans that are not covered by any forbearance plan. All right, so it's almost like the numbers don't make sense. So we've got maybe the 1.8 million forbearance, the 600,000 that these guys are talking about, but what about that that difference of 1.2 million, difference between 600,000 and 1.8 million? You know what I mean? On these other loans not current that aren't basically in forbearance. So that's where I get the 4 million minimum. So we know that everything's underreported numbers, so it's going to be more than that. But my point is that, and I make this every time, and I know I sound like a broken record, but this is what the focus is on the forbearance numbers from Black Knight. They don't talk about the other issues that are going on with other delinquencies across the board here. So this is all going to happen. That's not factored in. If you want to know the worst states for delinquencies, obviously Mississippi is number one. Louisiana, Hawaii, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Maryland, New York, Arkansas, Alabama, Vermont, Texas, Georgia, Nevada, Alaska, Connecticut, Indiana, and Illinois as a percentage of, non-current loans as a percentage of the overall loan base in that location. Obviously, the next sort of wave is Florida, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Kansas, Ohio, Maine, New Mexico, and it kind of drops off from there. But we're looking at, if you take a look at, as high as 8% to as low as 2.4%, places that don't have much non-current are, Idaho, Colorado, Washington, Utah, Montana, Oregon, and California. So guess what? That's all West Coast stuff where property values are much higher, and you have probably higher incomes and stuff like that to support that. So there you go. So, but again, when I look at this, nothing surprises me. Even though, for example, Florida, just because we're a largely populated state now, so we're maybe not in the top tier, but we got on a peg count, we got a ton of distressed and a ton of pre-foreclosure sitting there. So it just depends on where you are and how you want to look at that. And If you guys are not already subscribed to my channel, if you do me the great honor and smash the subscribe button, I really appreciate that. Help my channel grow, because it certainly helps, and like the video as well too. And if you think you're a subscriber, and guess what? Maybe you are, maybe you're not, because you could have fallen off because of the things that happened behind the scenes here. So if you could just verify your subscription, smash that button again, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and thank you for everyone's viewing of the videos, and it's been a fun ride, and it's just getting good now. So we've been talking about this for a couple years, and now things are starting to really play out, which is what we've been waiting for. So as I mentioned, the shift has started, okay? The shift has started, really July 31st, things opened up, and again, to recap, the CDC eviction moratorium is kind of off to the left here. I'm not really talking about that right now. Not affecting the forbearances and sort of the foreclosure stuff that we're dealing with right now. Now, trust me, that's going to affect the foreclosures down the road with all the landlords who are going to get hurt by that. But we're really focusing on forbearance exits and the foreclosure activity increasing right now. So everyone's talking about this now. What I mean by that is large investors are ready and waiting to pounce on this opportunity. So a lot of, we call it dry powder, a lot of opportunity they're waiting to jump on it. As we've even read now, they're overbuying for properties right now. Why? Because rents are so high that they can pay a premium and still charge a higher premium rent and still make the numbers work for themselves, which is really unique. Other investors are inquiring and positioning for this next wave of what's going to happen as well too. So people are already thinking about this and how they're going to work it. Primary home buyers want in. Obviously, my inquiries are increasing with respect to that. Real estate agents need info now. So a lot of real estate agents are saying, hey, and if you're, listen, no offense to any agents out there, because there's a lot of good agents, a lot of terrible agents as well too. Agents, make sure I'm saying that word right. Problem though is that, not the problem, I guess you say the situation is that if you're a relatively new agent, say the past 5 years, you may have never done a short sale because you never had to, because the market's been appreciated and distressed property hasn't been something you've done. So guess what? There's going to be a lot of sort of knowledge base needing to be transferred to real estate agents as time goes on. And for everyone out there who are buyers, dealing with a real estate agent who has a short sale listing does not guarantee that you're going to get a great price or a biggest discount you think you should be getting, because there's different ways and philosophies of how people want to price these things and where they, who they're working for and how they're playing this out. So that's why you want to talk to me about this, all right? The info market world, so stuff online, is basically spiked up now. Every day I'm getting tons of emails with respect to, REOs, foreclosures, this and that, whatever. I'm going to start doing that as well too, because I'm establishing my email base as well too, and I have short sale programs and distressed property programs as well too. So that's going to start, and we're seeing a lot more of that happening. Just like the previous housing crisis. What I mean by that is, what did we see the past couple of years? Growth, property values, fixing, flipping, the whole bit. And then we're going to start to plateau as we are right now. And then people are going to realize, well, I don't even want to buy at these prices, and something's going to change, and then the market's going to start to shift. Then people are going to realize okay, well, we can pick off stuff on the way down, but now there's opportunity on the distress side, which is the foreclosures and short sales, and then that market will pick up. So that's what happened last time through. We had like a little static period for a bit. The people went, okay, I got to go after this segment now, and that's going to be the big thing on a going forward basis to push. Because with a short sale, if you do it correctly, you can create the equity that's not there. That's the whole point for yourself, all right? Just to show you what I talked about earlier about these MSAs, which I think are really important. So I'm going to show you some Florida MSAs to sort of illustrate, even right now, how there's discounts happening on the short sale side without even trying, and there'll be more as time goes on. So look at this is the Lakeland Winter Haven MSA, about $59,000 in equity for the most recent, which is the June 2021 analysis they put out. So $59K in equity. Where I am here in the Tampa MSA, about $75K in equity, which is pretty good, but it gets better. Oh, you want to go to where? The Ocala. Ocala is about 90 minutes up the road from me. More pastures, horse farms. It's a growing location. People are looking to live there because of the quality of lifestyle. $84K in equity, which is pretty cool. And then we go to the next location is what? We're looking at Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford. Well, obviously down I-4 about 90 minutes there. $100K in equity, all right? And that's a big metro location too, so obviously a lot of population there. We know what goes on in the Orlando area, a lot of tourism and travel and themes and stuff like that. But, a lot of people want to live there, a lot of businesses going there as well too. So $100,000K in equity in the Orlando area from a short sale. Let's take a look at what? Ooh, we got Jacksonville. This surprised me, $151K. Now, listen, I'll qualify this. It's median home price for traditional minus the median home price for a short sale. Now, we don't have that many short sales going on because of what's happening in the world, in the real estate world these days, for a number of reasons. Number one, people don't want to do them or don't know how to do them, so they're not going after the homeowners to help them and actually make them short sale deals. That's the main reason. But the point, though, is that it's a small percentage, which means look at the equity on this very small percentage of homes, which means there's more out there. And I can tell you that if you have the right system, the right people working, you can push that equity even farther down, which is what we're good at. But this surprised me in Jacksonville, knowing 151K there. Look at the Sarasota Bradenton MSA, 178K. Sarasota's a little higher end location just south of where I'm at, 178K in equity. And the number one location for equity on short sales is, guess what? Southeast part of Florida, which is the Miami, Lauderdale, West Palm MSA. Now, this is three counties, three big counties, three well-populated counties. Take a look at the median sales price for that. 500K for median sales price. That's certainly much higher than our side here. We're about like 332 and they're 500. So definitely things are more expensive on the east coast of Florida. But take a look at, because it's more dense population, more opportunity there. Look at the 248K in equity, roughly 50% discount over the median price point. So these are the reasons why you want to jump in this business and figure this stuff out. Okay, and obviously I can help you with that. You got to reach out to me. But here's the real reason why, and I learned something I want to talk about really quickly here that's opened my eyes up, and now I see, again, I'm open for suggestions. I'm open to learn things, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I admit that. But this one caught me off guard, and so this was interesting. I didn't realize until I started looking deeper other parts of the state that look at the size of the equity here, which is great. So I did something the other day. Well, let me show you first here. How do you want to know how to acquire a property that's between $59,000 and $248,000 under fair market value? I'm sure you all do. Why? Because you're going to be able to do this with it. Okay, I'm going to show you. So this is a client of mine. We are actually, I guess you could say, he's moving some property for various reasons. He's not distressed, but we put this on the MLS the other day, a couple days ago, right? So it's a duplex here in Tampa, and I was surprised at the action I got on it. So I had over 20 offers in 48 hours, all right? And that's no lie. Got them on my desk, all right? 35 plus other inquiries. When I mean other inquiries, they were either emails to me for their agents, they were phone calls for their agents, or they were buyers that called or emailed directly saying, I want this property, all right? So it was under contract in about 48 hours, and we even actually took our time. I could have had under contract in 30 minutes if we wanted to, but we want to let some offers come in, et cetera, and kind of, like percolate for a little bit. No showings. I didn't have to go show this whatsoever. All but two came in at the full list price or higher. So only two were below list price. The rest were list price or higher than list price. Okay, people were offering 5K, 10K more. All contracts had minimal contingencies. Some even had what's called escalation clauses. Escalation clause basically is, okay, there's another addendum they attach that says, hey, show us a bona fide offer that's higher than ours, and then we'll go $1,000 more than that offer to get this property up to a certain cap that they have. Well, we had half a dozen of those clauses with some of those offers, which is kind of funny. Majority are all cash and closing by end of month. So, that's pretty active. That's basically 2-week closing to where we are today. So that's what's going on in this market. This is not even a primary home single-family residence. This is a small duplex. Well, it's not a good-sized duplex, but it's a duplex. It's an income-generating property. And I had so much action on this and stuff. Listen, right now, even today, stuff still keeps cut. I still get emails going, is it available? Is it available? People just fire contracts in because where the market is now, they don't even care. The people who are smart get the contract in first to establish almost like, the pecking order. And then you're going to, and the less contingency cash, less contingencies, bang, we're talking to those people first and they're going to be under contract. So that's the smarter real estate agent doing that, which makes sense. So my point though is something like this going on, look at the activity in this, did I market this? I put it in the MLS. Okay, there's no virtual tours or a bunch of pictures or open houses or staging or crap going on. None of that. Okay, it's me clicking a button, it's being posted out there, and then the swarm comes. All right, so that's the market frenzy that we're in right now. So when I say match this, what's happening in like this situation with all those short sales that had all those equity opportunity differentiators there, that's why you want to do this business. Simple as that. And I already thinking about how we're going to approach this. And again, of course, we're going to go after all the distress, but maybe some different ways. Just buy them and throw them in the MLS. Okay, simple as that. Because people will buy, and people will buy and waive contingencies these days. So that's, the best part is buying low and distressed and matching that with the high cash offer. There you go. So anyway, the point is it's going to be fun out there. You got to learn it. So if you want more information on this, please reach out to me. There are some people who I need to connect with. I'll do that later today and tomorrow. So in the past, if you've had a discussion with me and you've kind of dusted me off and didn't think there was any value in what I was talking about, well, you may want to reconsider that now, because things are starting to happen, and that just shows you what goes on in this market. Is it every market? Not necessarily, but a lot of the major markets across the country is exactly what's happening down here in Florida. So there you go. You can do this here in Florida if you want. So reach out to me if you'd like. So once again, guys, thank you for the views, comments, like the video. Please share the video with your family and friends. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Reach out to me if you want to get going in this business, because I can tell you, I mean, I can go on for hours, as you know that, but things are really starting to happen now. And we've been waiting for this for a couple of years, and now it's coming to fruition. So guys, take care. We'll talk to you soon.